If you think things are fucking addicting in your life right now, just you wait 10 years time, right? Think back to 10 years ago, parents were worried about their kids staying up too late on a DS. Fast forward to today, every single 9-year-old you see on the street has an iPhone 17 and they spend 10 hours a day on it, right? The market has got to a point where businesses are so incredibly good at ripping your attention away from you that in the future, it will be impossible to not get distracted unless you take control of your habits and addictions before, right? It will only get harder to stay away from addictions, like specifically endless scrolling and anything to do with the internet. Your attention will be fucking harvested unless you take action and put measures into place and build the skill of controlling your habits and making decisions properly. This is exactly why we need to discuss this today, because if you don't prepare yourself right now, you will regret it in the future. When you find yourself waking up in 2035 and you are instantly funneled into every single addiction and bad habit available. Now, the first thing is you have to decide to actually make a decision. If you truly decide to do something, you will do it. If you don't do it, you haven't truly decided. You need to commit to yourself and make the decision that you will take control instead of letting these addictions take control of you. Because I know how it is, right? I used to spend 8 hours a day playing video games and endless scrolling, 10 hours a day on my fucking phone. I know how fucking stupid it makes you feel and how the days just blend together and you don't feel like you are actually doing anything with your life. And as I said, it will only get harder. So you need to make the decision. That requires understanding how serious this is. When I say it will get harder, I mean in 20 years' time even, it will be near impossible. Near impossible. Businesses will have psychologists that are so good at understanding human brain chemistry that it will be impossible to not get funneled into addiction. You need to make the decision to commit to this and understand how serious it actually is. The first thing that most people get wrong is they do not treat it like an addiction. It is an addiction. If you're spending 12 hours a day on your phone, you are addicted. Right? In the same way that an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol. And when it comes to addictions like nicotine or vaping or alcohol, it's exactly the same. There are more cons than there are pros. So you need to treat it like an addiction, because if you underestimate how powerful these things are in keeping your attention, you will fall. Right? You will fall. And I'm only saying that because I've done it before and I know you have before as well, okay? Even if you're not addicted right now, these are still the skills you need to be building. Now, the hardest addictions to break are ones that you do not want to completely stop doing. For example, right? I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I still want to go for a drink with my mates sometimes because that's a nice thing to do. So where's the middle ground? You can find a middle ground, but it needs to be specific. If you're trying to, for example, if you're trying to drink less, you can't just say to yourself, oh, well, I'm just going to drink less, or I'm going to go out for 1 drink instead of 5. You cannot do that. It needs to be a specific middle ground. For example, for me, if I'm having a drink and I'm taking a full break right now for probably the next 8 months or something like that, but if I was going to have a drink, I'm limited myself to special occasions only. Special occasions and holidays. That is it, right? Any other time that doesn't fit those exact check markers, I cannot drink and I won't. It needs to be specific, otherwise you'll find yourself saying, oh, go on, I'll just have a drink right now. So that's the next thing. Once you've identified the bad habits that you need to take control of, you need to have specific requirements on when it is exactly okay to do the habit or the addiction or whatever you want to call it. If it is something that you know, for example, is bringing nothing into your life, then just go on and fucking quit it altogether. I'm only talking about in this circumstances, things that you actually want to keep doing, like having a drink with your mates does have some kind of benefit. Turns out to be a nice evening if you don't go out and get absolutely shit-faced. So specific requirements. And so once you've understood all of these first 3 things, next thing, you can't break all of your habits at once. You can't. And if you try, the chances are that you'll crash and burn within the first week and you'll go back to using them. okay? You need to focus on one specific bad habit / addiction at a time. Focus only on that and don't worry about the others, because it takes time for us to adapt, and that's just how it is. The issue is that most people decide to try and change their life in one day, right? You cannot do that. Focus on number one, the worst habit that you think you do in your life, and focus only on that until you have adapted. That's it. And for each habit that you focus on breaking individually, one at a time, you need to keep a habit streak of how many days you haven't done that for. And what I mean for this is find a visual open space in your room or in your living room or something like that. Write down the name of the bad habit in writing, and then put an X for each day that you don't do this. The theory is that once you build enough momentum, the stakes become so incredibly high that you are not willing to give that up again, okay? So you need to get down in writing how much progress you have made, because it will convince you to not go back to it. So keep a habit streak for each bad habit that you focus on breaking. And once you've started the habit streak, all I want you to do is just focus on the next 7 days. If you try and think about or comprehend not doing this habit again for the rest of your life, that's a bit of weight, right? That has a bit of weight in that decision. If you just say, right, I need to get these next 7 days perfect, that will build so much momentum in your visual habit streak that from there on, it's going to be 10 times harder to go back to it because you've already got that momentum. So one at a time, and then habit streaks. Now, I started off with make a decision, right? Make the decision. Once you have truly decided, you will not go back to that bad habit. And if you do go back to that bad habit, then you never truly decided. The key thing is with this, you need to get this down in writing, right? If you don't journal already, I highly recommend you start journaling. But every time I've broken a bad habit, I've written it down in pen on my journal. I've written down every single reason that it is holding me back from where I want to be, and every single con to the habit itself. And then I've written down, I will quit this now. Okay, you need to get this down in writing. It seems more official. It's just a little mind trick, but it seems more official and like it's actually gonna work. Because how many times have you heard someone say, oh yeah, next week my diet's gonna start, but they don't actually prepare for that to happen. They just think they're going to get there with sheer willpower, right? You need to prepare for how hard it's going to be. So getting this down in writing and officially committing to yourself is actually quite a big part of this. So get it down in writing when you are making this decision. If you focus on all of these steps one at a time with each of the bad habits that you know are obviously holding you back, like endless scrolling, like drinking too heavily, like vaping your fucking mind out, like gaming every single day. If you follow all of these 5 steps perfectly, break your habits one at a time using streaks with specific requirements for the habits that you still kind of want to do in some specific scenarios, you treat it like an addiction and you actually make the commitment to yourself. I can promise you, all of your bad habits will be able to go away, but you have to actually decide. You have to decide and understand that this is serious, because as I outlined at the start, things will only get harder. That's it. Just a quick one today. Use code CoachWill on applied nutrition and follow me on Instagram at CoachWillCave. I'll see you next time.